take to the battlefield. Nope.
VortiX deer are in the front.
Oh.
Ouch.
Now, we talked about the TC idea. Because you've got a wood line there, can you get away with a TC extension onto that deer? Or is it still too aggressive?
Yeah, I think that's what he's going to do. I think VortiX is going to try to get the deers in the front with the berries. Like, it's so important to get food access with friends. Like, so important. The good thing is that he never needs to worry about golden stone. He has everything in the back in that corner. Like, he only cares about the food.
Yeah. The potential bad news is he has a very open spawn on the backside. Like, those wood lines aren't exactly giving him a natural defense per se, right?
Actually, that's a good spawn.
Yeah,
A good spawn for walling. Like,
that's true.
he can wall the top three lines, and then he just needs to make a big wall in the bottom, and then he can have his production in the front, in between his two town centers, if he chooses to make a town center on the deer.
That's fair. We'll see if he tries to prioritize that, because I guess you probably don't want to rush to wall that off just because of the way you're playing a 4 TC anyway. And at that point, there's probably more value in DeMusliM going for a slower moving army versus going horseman, because it's less distance to cover to get aggressive, right?
Um, Even if he doesn't go for a horseman, lancers are gonna coming out at
Yes.
around 10 to 11 minutes. So it's like you need to wall it. You might not wall it at like 6, 7 minutes in the game, but you should be walling it before the 9th minute mark.
Definitely. Well, we'll see how quickly DeMusliM can get up in age, if he wants to be aggressive or not. What? Hold on. How did you
He
get
was
that? What? What?
he was pushing it. I'm
The
pretty sure he
entire
was
way?
pushing it. Yeah.
All right.
You can push it there from one side of the map to the other. I
Yeah.
think that nothing stops you.
It's just we don't really see that level of commitment. In fact, it feels like the only time we see people pushing deer is like A, to interrupt someone else's TC drop, or B, they're playing Hill and Dale.
There are the spheres. Now, I'm really curious where he's gonna place the tower. Like, you really want to place the tower on the gold. Like, you don't really want on the wood, because if you make it on the wood, the opponent will just switch wood lines. Because at the start of the game, when you place the tower, your opponent doesn't, most of the times, doesn't have that many guys on wood. He wants to mainly be on foot. So in the transition, you make the tower, he just switches wood lines, and he's almost fine. And yeah, he goes for the wood.
It's going to be the wood, yeah. So, setting up south side. And that's kind of awkward, because if you want to wrap around, you have to go north. Now you have to intercept. But if he does get the second outpost up, like, this becomes very annoying, because VortiX, we talked about that secondary TC for the deer. You won't have access to that area at all. VortiX. What do you think the best counter is to this now? Okay, just villager pool. Because I was about to say, we used to see the scout
No.
build, but people just don't do it frequently anymore.
No. Remember what we told you earlier? What was the keyword? Ignore.
Yeah.
I
He's
would
not.
have ignored this. What you want to do is you want to rush H2 as fast as possible. Just get H2 as fast as possible.
Then
And the moment you make 1 or 2 archers, you're fine. Now,
I'm sorry,
you're
continue.
it's fine. It's hilarious. I know. That's why you don't want to do this with the villagers, because he can just delete and repeat, non-stop repeat that, and you're losing resources right now. VortiX is gathering 42 wood per minute, and he's having 7 villagers idle. You don't want to do that.
Though in fairness, the Moo was never like deleting the scaffolding as they were chasing in, so he maybe could have like returned a little bit more wood to himself. But still, a decent one. I'm starting to wonder how intentional this deer push was.
It was attacked, right?
Yes,
So it
it's
has
been
been.
shot twice by the Khan.
So right now, as the French player, you want to have an archery range, but you don't. That's bad. You want to have an archery range, and you want to be making an archer. Because the moment you make first archer,
Oh, no.
you are pretty much start to secure your position, and you will not allow your opponent to make a tower. Now,
Okay.
by him doing this, it would have been a lot better if he made the tower there, because then he can make a town center on the deer and he's fine with 2 or 3 archers and 10 villagers. But now he can't.
That's the interesting thing, actually. French players' reaction to this outpost play used to be just build their own outpost up. Do you think they just moved away from that because of the extra build time? So it's extra idle time for your woodline anyway?
You don't want to do that. You
No.
don't want to make your own outpost, in my opinion at least. You want to deny him the ability to make new outposts.
Yeah.
Because if you do, then he just has one outpost in a single location. But if you make your own outpost, he deletes, makes it a step further away, or on the left or on the right. You can't keep doing that.
Yeah, you just what you're doing at that point is you're blatantly reacting to every play, and that means you're never getting ahead. You're just staying one step behind.
Yeah.
I guess like the worst part about it is against a civ like the Mongols, because of the Yam as well, they get extra perks from having that matched everywhere. They'll keep an advantage even if they're not getting anything big because you have an outpost there as well.
You will eventually destroy it.
Mhm.
Now, you could destroy it if you have 3 or 4 archers, for example, and he won't be aged 2. If you properly do the build and you go heavy on wood, make your archery range, make 3 archers and go for it, you can take 10 villages and take it down. The thing is that when you pull villagers to take it down, you want to have archers. If you don't have archers, he just deletes it, takes a step back, you take damage on your villagers from the spears, and he rebuilds it. And he keeps doing that.
VortiX is finally sick of actually playing to the tune of DeMusliM. So the Knights are out. This is where the tactics might change a little bit. Ben has kept a condensed economy to try and offset what he knows coming. Because whenever you're up against the French, it's always going to happen. It doesn't matter how much you try to contain them early on with outposts. Heavy Knights can ignore that. Actually, this is a 2TC build.
Yeah. He knows that the French player is going to go to TC as well. This is one of the approaches. And it's a good approach. I'm not saying it should be really good.
Even better when you consider that VortiX's premium TC location got taken away. Look at what he's doing here. Gold Vein Town Center. Something that should already have been accessible to you. You definitely don't feel like VortiX got the better exchange out of Town Center placement here.
No, it's definitely a really bad placement. You want to secure food. If you don't secure food, you're going to have trouble. Mongols can make pastures and they can build up the number. They also have map control right now, so they can easily go to deer. But as a French, you're draining your food. Like knights, 140 food. Villagers, it's 50 food, but you're training villagers faster, therefore you need more food than normal civ.
Yeah. And when you think about the fact that he wanted to add archers and that, yeah, they don't cost as much food as they do wood, but it's still all adding up. And
yeah, it's a lot of food. France needs a lot of food, and the thing with pastures is the moment you make a pasture, it creates 250 food for you that you can gather with 8 villagers, for example. You can't do that with friends. You have to make one farm for one guy, and then one more farm for one guy.
Now, VortiX, I've seen him be an absolute pain in the ass for Mongol players before, but this time, it won't be the case. DeMusliM has the answer. He loses a knight, and what? That's like maybe 10 seconds extra idle time. Actually, if you do from a mathematical base, like the argument is usually if you kill 2 villagers but lose a knight, it doesn't feel that worth it. You didn't really even get 1 villager worth of deficit there.
He killed 1 villager. Do you know what's better than killing 2 villagers and losing a knight?
Idling 10?
Killing 2 villagers and not losing the knight.
Oh, okay. Thank you for your advice on the level of, like, I want to get better at CSGO. How do I do that? Just click heads, lol. Thought we were going to get the really deep answers, like, yeah, just, you know, harassing and idling 10 villages. Nope. But you are correct. Just be better, guys. Right now,
the food situation is going to start hitting VortiX really soon.
Right now, he has an eco lead, sure, but it's untenable long term. And you don't want to be transitioning farms early on. In fact, one of the French's big advantages is that they don't have to, because they usually have mid-map control. Looks like he might be trying to use that mid-map control, because I am noticing some people down on the southern deer. So VortiX is playing pocket eco.
And he's gonna go heavy on feudal.
Wait.
Like making the second stable. Like,
does he know? Oh, no.
Oh my god. No, no, he doesn't.
Not this again. I mean, it's not on the same level as the knight from last game, but could you have
Better question is,
imagined?
what does that ship do in the wood line? There is a ship, lone ship in that wood line.
It snitches. It's a filthy little snitch.
It's a Mongol spy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, he's been converted. No, you laugh. I still remember watching, I think it was Poppy Paw in the early days with his Chinese tower rushes. He would actually walk sheep around into the enemy's wood line so you could see on the other side. Surprisingly effective.
Until he kills it.
Hey, the best part is people didn't notice, especially if you were talking about a tree line that the opponent was pushing in from the northwest side, because most people use default angle, right? So you can actually hide the sheep behind the trees.
Yeah, a lot of people, like, I've seen people take one villager and chop all the trees down so that the tower can see. You can do that as well.
Yeah.
And actually, you can actually make a tower in the middle of the tree line as well.
Yeah, that was happening for a while, and then finally, thank God, the Outpost nerfs came in, so people stopped doing that as frequently anymore. What?
Oh my god.
Why was he leaving? Why?
Alright, that was weird. What happened?
I don't know where he was going, why he was going.
But it's stuck.
Ben?
He won't lose it.
Are you stuck,
Like,
Benny boy?
Double lancers are going to come, but I think he misclicked it. There's no other explanation, right? He must have
There
misclicked.
must be a misclick. I mean, the thing is, like, if the step readout had been built already, I'd be like, oh, he was trying to move the step readout or something. But I don't know what the TC, where it was going. Like, this couldn't have been intentional. I mean, you say the double lances are coming.
I know what he was doing. I know. He was building the step readout. He saw the army and he wanted to place the town center next to the gold mine so that he can make sure that no one stops the step readout and he can gather from the gold. That's what he was doing.
Pseudo outpost, basically. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, basically, he wanted to move it and make it work like an outpost so that he can get into the castle gates. But that didn't work very well.
No, it's actually fortunate for him that VortiX didn't have 2 more knights nearby, because the amount of damage they've done to that town center, it probably be gone by now.
I think so too. If he has his scouts, I don't know if he has a scout alive. No, he doesn't.
No, he's actually playing blind AoE. Now, we've seen VortiX do this before, and it's very dangerous.
Being 2TC against 2TC and having 35 villagers to 61.
What the...
That's a 25 villagers difference. That's
I feel like I only looked a moment ago. It wasn't that big of a difference, but good lord, you're right. This is getting absurd. And yeah, VortiX is stuck in feudal for the moment, but he has a decent amount of knights. And something we have to remember is that French knights can compete with Castle Age knights in feudal, as long as they get their charge off at the beginning of the battle.
Yeah, and as long as you don't have the numbers, but you can have more numbers than your opponent, and then they can.
Not if you take fights like this. Really not if you take fights like this.
It really looked like the Lancers were slicing like a butter on the knight.
I mean, you do carve them up that easily when it's 1-on-3, so it's kind of appropriate.
Okay, this is becoming.
No, we've been here before. Is this just a day for VortiX? How is it there's a Mongol player in the game, but you're the one getting dubbed the Great Migration? This is... He doesn't even kill the Lancers quickly.
The funny thing is, why would you gather wood there?
That's it. He just calls it.
Yeah,
wow. GG from VortiX. There's many whys. There's many whys.
Why would he gather wood there? There is a wood line behind your base. Not the one that has a tower, but the other one. There was like 2 big wood lines that he walled. They were walled.
But Mister, even then, like, genuinely, even then, if his concern is there's an outpost on his wood line, considering how willing he was to attack that outpost when he didn't have many villagers, surely you would have just torched it down at this point.
Yeah. Just use this amount of villagers. Just take them, take down the outpost, and just wall it, and then gather.